The threat of catastrophic fire and post-fire flooding is the #1 public safety issue and concern that faces the residents and communities of Coconino County. We have had multiple experiences, from the Schultz fire and flood to the museum fire to the slide fire, that showed us the vulnerabilities that our communities face when unhealthy forests turn into catastrophic wildfires and the subsequent post-fire flooding that often comes after those fires.
Bill Williams Mountain is a priority to treat because the vegetation is so out of sync on where it should be. The canopy is very dense, so the trees overlay one another very tightly. A lot of down and dead wood on the ground. These steep slopes are complicated to treat. They're expensive. We don't have a tremendous amount of timber industry in northern Arizona, and certainly not the equipment and expertise readily available that you might see in other places in the nations. With the kind of fuel bed we have on that mountain, we look to have a very catastrophic fire.
You get hydrophobic soils with a hot burn on these steep slopes.
And rain that falls on the north slope of Bill Williams Mountain ends up flowing through the city of Williams.
We would look to have flooding, severe flooding in the community of Williams, and possibly the destruction of that water reservoir. That watershed is important to more than just the local community. The city of Phoenix depends on water that we capture.
There's a potential of anywhere from mid $300 million to upper $600 million regional impact to the area. We had an experience related to the Schultz fire and the flooding that came after that fire that really impacted communities. And we got to looking at it and thinking, you know, wouldn't it make more sense to actually spend less money to get ahead of something like this?
So right in front of us here is a great example of the difference between resilient, healthy landscape that has had some forest restoration treatments on it. You can see it's fairly open. It's not clogged and cluttered with small dimensional trees. If fire were to come on this landscape, fire would, for the most part, sit on the ground and be managed exactly how fire should behave in a ponderosa pine forest system. If we pan over to this side, however, you'll see much, much higher tree densities, lots of small dimensional trees that, should fire get into that part of the landscape, much higher probability of it climbing up, getting into the crowns of those trees, and being an unproductive, more catastrophic fire.
The treatment and restoration on the mountain is complex. The terrain is complex, and it requires a lot of great minds coming together.
Working with our partners is really the only way we're going to get this mountain treated.
With helicopter logging, we're able to access ground that was previously inaccessible. We're able to, with very, very little impact to the ground, remove the fuel loading from our forests and help improve forest health in general.
Coconino County's Flood Control District's Forest Restoration Initiative is using the most recent scientific data and studies to identify the most critical forested acres to treat to reduce the risk of catastrophic wildfires and post-wildfire flooding. Utilizing partnerships with the U.S. Forest Service, National Forest Foundation, Arizona Department of Forestry and Fire Management, City of Flagstaff, and NAU's Ecological Restoration Institute, among many others, Coconino County is dedicated to reducing the impacts from catastrophic wildfires and post-wildfire flooding on our citizens and our communities.
The communities of northern Arizona have been so supportive as we move and improve and increase our investments in forest restoration. They are critical to ensuring the safety of our communities, the safety of communities like Bill Williams Mountain, to make sure that when we invest proactively and preventatively. Thanks for your interest, understanding, and support of the forest restoration initiatives of the Flood Control District and of Coconino County.